Not yet. And we are live. Welcome, Chanel.
Hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
It's a pleasure to have you here. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a while.
Yeah, me too. Sorry I had to postpone last week, but it was my birthday week, so I was having a week off.
Did you have a good birthday?
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, I went to see some friends, had a bit of a house party, because obviously there's no real parties happening right now, but
Yeah,
had to make do.
brilliant. Well, I'm pleased to hear that. And I'm looking forward to our conversation on how to generate leads through Facebook.
Yeah.
A huge welcome again. Let's get started. Why don't you first tell us a little bit about yourself? Who's Chanel? What does she do? What's her story? And then we will start getting into the topic for today.
Yeah, sure. So, as you said, my name's Chanel Morales. I'm an online business coach. So, I help women to launch online businesses in 12 weeks with my 12-week program, The Dream Club. So, those people who are essentially working in corporate or, working in a 9 to 5 and they don't want to do that anymore, they want to have more freedom. They want to be able to work from home, be flexible, and they're not really sure what they can do with their skills. I essentially help them to figure out what they can do with those skills with my free 5-day challenge, which is called Discover Your Perfect Online Business. And then they join my 12-week program if they need help to actually launch the business. So that's what I do on the business side. I'm also a full-time digital nomad. So I've been traveling the world for the last 2 years with my daughter. She's now 11, so we left when she was 8. We traveled all around the world, the US, Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, Mexico, lots of places. I don't have a house. I don't have an address. This is my dad's place where I am right now because I'm back visiting family. And so I'm a full-time nomad, no fixed address, just travel constantly, which was amazing up until 6 months ago when it all became very difficult. But I have been on a few trips in the last couple of months. I've been to Turkey and Albania, so just sort of staying to Europe at the moment because it's just a little bit easier. But yeah, so that's pretty much me. I'm all about helping people to create their dream life. So many people say, oh, you're living the dream and I wish I could do that. And I just think, well, when I did it, when I first started, I had like almost no money, had £300 in my bank account when I left. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. If you really want to do something like travel or, start an off-grid community or do van life or any of these things, you can do them if you have an online business that you can run from anywhere in the world. And, you can always make money as long as you've got your laptop and Wi-Fi. So that's what I'm all about, really.
Oh, so you are actually living the laptop lifestyle, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, so travel is such a big part of you. It must have been incredibly hard during the COVID because you couldn't travel.
Oh, I was climbing the walls. I absolutely hated it because I came back to the UK at the end of February just to see family and stuff, and then rented an Airbnb for 1 month and then ended up there for 6 months. And I haven't been in the same town or city for more than a month in the last 2 years. And then I was in the same apartment for like 6 months. I was absolutely going crazy. So yeah, I really needed to get away. I love England, but I like to be I like to not know where I'm going to be or who I'm going to meet or what's going to happen, and like, new places, new people, and I love all that stuff. But at the moment it's not quite the same because when you travel, there's not as many travelers, it's not as easy to connect with people. So it's not the best at the moment, but I'm still kind of going anyway where I can.
Brilliant. So how did this whole idea of traveling all over the world while running a business came along?
Yeah, so I was working in a 9 to 5 about 3 or 4 years ago and hated it. And I was just like, this is the most soul destroying thing. I had my daughter when I was really young. I was 19, and then I didn't graduate from university until I was 25. So I've got my first full-time office job when I was quite a lot older than most people. And so I just thought, this is rubbish. I can't believe this is what everyone's been doing. This is awful. So I started Googling and looking online for like ways to make money from home. And I came up with all the usual like network marketing, pyramid type things. And I was like, there's got to be real things you can do from home. And so I carried on researching, eventually started freelancing. And then I was sat at home as a social media freelancer one day and I was freezing cold. It was like November. I had the heating on full blast. My toes felt like they were going to fall off. And I was just like, why am I here? Like, I could be anywhere. My clients don't care that I'm in England. Like, I could be on a beach doing this. And so that's what the first idea popped into my head. I've always traveled from a young age. I used to live in Australia. I've got family in Peru and America, and I've always traveled from a young age. So it wasn't as much of a big deal for me as I realize now that it is for a lot of people. They think, oh my God, this big scary thing. To me, travel was just part of life. And I was like, well, I could either be broke here and cold, paying all these bills, or I could be broke on a beach, paying less bills. So I was like, well, I don't care that I've got no money. I'm just going to buy, I'm going to go. So I just booked a one-way ticket. I Googled all about how to travel on a budget. So I found Workaway, which is where you work in people's homes and you get to stay for free, you get free food and accommodation. I found house sitting, where you look after people's pets, so you stay in the home for free. I found how to find cheap flights on Skyscanner. So I found all these flight hacks and just found all these ways to do it super cheap, and then started talking about it online, and it kind of all went from there really. And that's where the blog came from, and the group, and then the coaching.
Wow, fantastic. Fantastic. Well, there's so many people who actually think travel is such a big deal, and
Yeah, they
they
do.
would just not take out the time or really do it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's not a big deal to me. It's just book a flight, go to the airport, get on a plane, be somewhere new.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
you
I
did
love
it
it.
with a little child.
Yes, yeah, she was 8 when we left, so she wasn't too young. I mean, but there are women out there, I'm in a lot of the world schooling groups and the digital nomad groups and single mothers and really young children and multiple children. So I had it quite easy. I had one kind of older child who could look after herself and carry her own suitcase. So yeah.
Oh, that's so inspiring. That's so inspiring that it is possible to build a successful business while living your dream.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
So talk to us about the moment when you realized that you could be broke here or you could be broke somewhere else. Did your mind not play any games and try to talk you out of it?
No, not really. I'm not really that kind of person. When I want something, I just decide it and then I just do it. I don't really have many blocks very often. I tend to just decide I want something and then I won't give up until I figure out how. Like, I believe everything's possible. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't make excuses and be like, oh, but this, oh, but that, oh, but I just don't do that. I just go, okay, well, how? And then I'll figure out how. Like, that's the only way my brain works, is like, there is a way to do everything. So there's no point in worrying about the things that you can't do, or the excuses or the what ifs. Just do it. Like, see what happens.
Yeah,
You'll get
and
there in the
that's a huge learning for us as business owners,
end.
isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I never ever thought I'd be where I am now financially in my business when I started. It wasn't even my goal to make this much money.
Yeah.
But obviously, as you grow, your business grows and you earn more and more, and then your goals change and everything like that. But in the beginning, I just wanted to make like 2K a month and replace my job, you
Yeah.
know? So it's just completely insane, like how things can change over time, and to just keep pushing forward and just take the next step and the next step each time.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. That's such an inspiring journey. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
That's okay.
All right, let's talk about the topic that we have chosen for today, how to generate leads through Facebook. So tell
Yeah.
us a little about that.
Yeah, so I built my whole business through Facebook. So it's my favorite platform. It's where I show up best. I'm actually on a 24-hour ban at the moment. I've just got in trouble because I said I hate men or something. My friend posted something about some stupid boy, and I just put I hate men, and then I've got a 24-hour ban because it's hate speech apparently. But
Oh,
generally, me and Facebook are friends, so we get on well. And so I built my whole business through Facebook. I think the main thing for me is that a lot of people don't realize that using your personal profile is the best way to grow your business, and people do get concerned about this. They think that it's against the rules and stuff like that, but the truth is you're only going to get in trouble if you use your personal profile solely for business, and if you're constantly posting like links and stuff. But the strategy I teach for using your personal profile is more around content. It's around storytelling, giving value, going live, all these other things. And
yeah.
that's really how you can grow your business. With your Facebook business page, you are only going to get tiniest amount of reach on anything you post, and you're going to have to spend a long time getting people to like your page. Whereas with your personal profile, you can go into groups and you can identify your ideal client by asking questions or posting value. So you could ask a question like, for example, I go into the travel groups and I would say something like, what's stopping you from traveling more? And everyone's going to say my job or money, pretty much.
Yeah.
So you go into these groups, you ask these questions, and then you're going to friend request all the people who are potentially ideal clients. And then you're constantly growing your friends list with ideal clients. And then when you're posting this awesome content, they're actually going to see it. Whereas if they liked your page, they're probably not going to see it. So this is how I built my business through, I'm up to pretty much 5,000 friends now. So I need to actually, I'm now running Facebook ads, and I'm focusing on my group. But the first stage of your business, that organic stage that you need to go through, it's really, really crucial that you use your personal profile. So that's the main thing that I really want to get through to people, because I know a lot of people find that quite scary.
I do that as well. I use my personal profile to build my business. In fact, I post very little personal stuff, in the sense that I don't do family stuff on Facebook.
Yeah.
I prefer to pick up the phone and talk to my people
Yeah.
and not do that on Facebook. But still, I put anything that's about my business on Facebook, and I do it on my personal profile precisely for this reason, because people know me as a person and they want to connect with me as a person and not as a business page.
Yeah, and I mean the reach is just rubbish, so you're not going to, nobody's going to see what you post on your page. But I do post some stuff about obviously my travels and my daughter, because for me that's all part of my brand. So for me it's a little bit different, because my daughter is a big part of my business. Obviously other mums want to see that I'm doing this with a child, that I'm traveling, that I'm running my business and have a child at the same time. So yes, that's the main thing, is using your personal profile. And then it's really all about creating this really great mixture of content. And I have 6 types of content that I teach, and that is story posts, value posts, lives, results posts, which is like testimonials or results you're getting for your clients, sales posts, and questions. So those 6 types of posts. And I also recommend you only really need to post once a day. A lot of people say you have to post lots of times a day, but I say quality over quantity, because if you post one really great post, Facebook takes about 24 hours to show it to people anyway. You know, you see stuff from yesterday and the day before. So if you post a really great story and then you post another thing on top 2 hours later, they're not going to get the right amount of engagement. So if you post a really great story or a really great piece of value, leave it for 24 hours. Just let it sit there, let it collect engagement, let it get the reach. Reply to every single comment to boost your engagement. And yeah, so that's really what I teach when it comes to content. I just did content week this week with the Dream Club, which was pretty fun. So we spent a whole hour talking about all this kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. So would you say, what should be the split between these different kinds of content?
Yeah, so I recommend just doing one for the whole week. So you've got 6 days covered then. So just one story, one value post, one sales post. If you're in launch mode, then you might want to step up the sort of testimonials and sales posts and post like extra ones of those, like maybe one in the morning and one in the evening, so you're still giving them like 12 hours to get the reach. But yeah, I would say just keep it simple. And I also have like a bonus piece of content that you can use, so then you've got 7, so you've got one for each day. So that is the day before you go live, you post and you say, tomorrow I'm going live to talk about XYZ, who wants to see it? Comment below, and then everyone comments, and then you can tag everyone in that live, or you can tag them after you do the live, or you can send them the link after the live, you know, so you get more engagement on your live, and then you've got a post for every day of the week.
And would you say that the Facebook algorithm works better when we are putting up only one post a day?
Yeah, definitely. So I think Facebook pretty much shows however many posts you post in a day, it shows it to the same amount of people. So if you post 3 posts in a day, you're getting 1/3 of the views on each one. So it's kind of a waste, especially if you're writing really great content. And I mean, it's hard work writing content all the time. So keep it simple for yourself, you know, just one post a day is enough. Like, you don't need to be posting all the time, especially if you've got a really great image on that post, you've broken it down so it's in every 2 lines there's a space, and you put some emojis in there. It's going to really catch people's attention. And then when people start to comment, if you reply to every comment, the engagement will grow, because Facebook thinks it's an interesting post, it's got lots of comments, and then it will start to show it to more people. So I just go all out with the one post a day. I post one post a day, get the engagement, respond to every comment, get to as many people as possible, and then the next day post something else. And I've done that for the last year, and I've got to the point now where I can just go into my Facebook memories and actually repurpose content. And you can repurpose content obviously before a year, but once you get to a year, it's really easy, because you just literally go into your Facebook memories, copy and paste it, and there you go. There's your content for the day. That's great.
Yeah, so we don't need to create new content all the time.
No, definitely not. So I use Trello to store all my stories, all my value posts. And then like if I'm having a day where I'm not working or I just don't want to think, then I can just copy and paste something from there. So yeah, that definitely is really helpful as well.
Yeah. But isn't it true that when we put images on our posts, then Facebook doesn't like it?
No, you should definitely use an image on every post. Yeah, post images get better reach, and they get more engagement. It catches people's eyes, it catches their attention. I use an image on every single post, apart from the ones I do in the colourful boxes. And it should always be a picture of you or your life, your personal brand. You don't want to use like stock imagery or anything like that. You shouldn't use other people's quotes. Like if you want to do a quote, put it in your own branding. You don't want to redirect people to other places. You want it to focus on you. So I use photos of myself or my daughter or my holiday travels, or, you know, usually for everything.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So I was initially using images on my posts, and then I can't remember from where I got this idea that messes up with the algorithm. So I stopped doing them, but the posts look a bit without images.
Yeah, it's good to grow your personal brand as well. So using images of yourself and to capture people's attention. So yeah, that's the way I've always done it, and it's always worked really well for me.
Yeah. So can you give us examples of these different types of contents, just to make sure that we understand them how you want us to understand them?
Yeah, so story posts are anything that's giving like a backstory about you, your journey, your life. I also tell like funny stories from when I was a kid, just really to connect with your audience on that personal level, for them to understand you, for them to get that deeper understanding of who you are, where you've come from, why you're the expert, all that kind of stuff. Value is just like giving tips. Like this could be a value post. I could write, you know, how to generate leads from Facebook and do that as value. Then you've got your lives. So lives are really awesome because people can hear your voice, see your face. They decide instantly whether or not they like you and trust you, whether they want to work with you. And if you're a coach, it's really important that people know whether they like you or not before they work with you. So definitely lives. I do like high value lives, so like this, how to generate leads using Facebook, or the top 6 highest paying online businesses, because I think in the feed they capture the attention. If it's like a real like how to achieve X, or how to do this, or top this, you know, people are like, oh, I want to know that. Whereas if you're kind of just walking down the road, just sort of chatting, I don't know, I don't think people care that much as they do for the high value ones. So, and because I only do 1 live a week, I like to make sure it's a high value live, and then I repurpose it on my website, create freebies from it. So they're really useful for that as well. You've got sales posts, which is just telling people about whatever it is you're selling, your program, your course, your offer, making sure you're breaking that down for people. You've got questions. So again, you can use this to identify ideal clients. So you can say like, who's trying to lose weight in the next 3 months, if you're a fitness coach. And then when people are like me, you can be like, oh, okay, these are potential ideal clients. Maybe I should start a conversation in the comments, or maybe I should send them a private message. Then you've got results posts. So that's like testimonials. When someone signs up to your program, always share that. When you've got a really great comment from somebody, screenshot that. And then you've got what was the last one? Sales post, testimonials, and questions. Have I done them all then? I think that's all of them.
We have done story, we have done value.
Story, value, live, sales post, question, testimonial. Yeah.
Okay. So when you share that somebody has signed up for your program, do you share the names as well?
Yes, I always tag them.
Okay.
Yeah, so it goes on their profile as well then, if they've got their settings like that.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's a really powerful mix, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
6 different posts and 6 days. Yeah,
Yeah. And the bonus one, if you want to do the extra
And the
one the day
bonus
before
one,
you
if you
launch.
want to work all 7 days.
Yeah, so you've got to post every day. I mean, some of them are really easy, like the question, you can post that on a Saturday. It'll take you 10 seconds to write a question. You can post your, I'm going live tomorrow on a Sunday. Who wants to see it? That'll take you 2 seconds to write that. So yeah, it doesn't have to be hard work. I do post every single day personally. So yeah, I do think that that's what you should aim for, once a day, every day. And you just get in the habit of that. It just becomes part of your life. You know, you wake up, you write a post, then you do whatever else you want to do with your day.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. My first activity of the day when I start work is creating my content and putting it up on social media. Then I know I'm done for the day.
Yeah, I do that when I'm still in bed usually. I do it from bed. I either copy and paste something from Trello, or copy and paste something from my memories, or maybe sometimes I'm inspired to write something now. But the other thing I do, like when I feel inspired to write, if I've already written my post for the day, I'll just schedule it to go out on my page, like for tomorrow morning, and then the next morning I'll copy and paste it over to my profile. So I've always got content there. Yeah.
So this is about putting content, and that's the first step. Now let's talk a little bit about engaging with people when they comment or when they say me, because a lot of people balk out at that step because they worry that, oh, they would be seen as salesy. People would think, oh, she's trying to make us a pitch.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah, so one other thing I wanted to mention as well was having your personal profile set up so it looks like a business. So you've got your banner, being very clear about what you do, your headline, your top line images all on brand. And this all helps for people to get a clear understanding and reach out to you sometimes when they just need what you're selling. So you have your personal profile set up, you're writing great content. The other thing you need to be doing, as I mentioned before, is being in groups and adding people. So you want to be adding 20 people a day at least. So that's how in a year I've managed to get to 5,000 friends, because I was very aggressively adding 20 to 30 people a day every single day for about a year. And that means now I've got this pool of 5,000 ideal clients. So when I post a question like who wants to become a bestseller, because I've created a publishing company recently, so who wants to become a #1 bestseller, I get tons of people commenting. What I then do is I send them a private message and I say, this is the this is the outline of the book, this is the idea behind it, this is the application, and I send them the information. When I first started out, when I was coaching, I would ask, who's interested in starting an online business, and when people said yes, I would offer them a free 30-minute call to discover their perfect online business. So I offer them a free strategy call, discovery call, consultation, whatever you want to call it. They're all the same thing. They're essentially all a sales call. So I get people on the phone and I give them some value. I ask them questions about themselves. What are you doing currently? Where are you at in your work life? What are your skills and expertise? And then I would offer like a recommendation of, okay, so maybe you'd be good as a health coach, or maybe you'd be good at creating a gardening course, or whatever it might be. And then if they like that idea, I would then obviously tell them about the Dream Club, how that I could actually help them to start the business and get it off the ground. So that's one strategy, is the sales calls route, which I think everyone should do at first, because you learn so much on sales calls. You learn so much about what people's objections are, what people really want, and because it's just face to face, you get that instant feedback. And I used to always write content based on the objections as well a lot, because people would have these ideas about what it was and they'd be wrong ideas. So I'd write a content about that then, so then I wouldn't deal with that objection again in the future. So sales calls are a really great way to start off. The other thing that I now do is a free 5-day challenge. So you can funnel people into any kind of freebie, a free webinar, a free 5-day challenge, a free PDF. For me, the free 5-day challenge is the highest converting. Mine converts at around about 10% every time, which is really high. So I got 450 people in my challenge, and I signed up 50 people to the Dream Club from that challenge. So that's a really high conversion rate. So for me, it works really well. For some people, webinars work really well. But essentially, freebies work because you're getting people to sit in front of you for a longer amount of time. They're going to get so much value. You're going to give them a quick win. So your webinar or 5-day challenge or PDF or workbook or whatever it is should overcome some sort of challenge for them, so they get a result. So my free 5-day challenge is discover your perfect online business. So I help all these people discover their perfect online business in 5 days, so they know, okay, now I know I could be a fitness coach, or I know I could be a health coach, or whatever it is. They figure that out, and then at the end, they first of all, they know whether they like me or not, because they spent 5 days listening to me. They know whether or not they trust me. They know whether or not they believe I can actually help them, because all week I've been talking about business and marketing, and they know I know my stuff. And finally, they know that they could start a business, but they just don't have all the pieces. So then at the end, that's what I offer them. I offer them the Dream Club, which is all those pieces put together. And so that's a really, really easy way to upsell something. One of the things I would say is it seems to not work as well with kind of like, I've had quite a lot of my clients try 5-day challenges, and the ones that don't seem to work very well are things like Facebook ads, web design, SEO, things that people probably don't want to do themselves and they don't get excited about. That's what I found. So if you're a consultant and you're doing something like that, then maybe 5-day challenges aren't the perfect way. But for coaches, if you're doing something that's changing people's lives and getting people excited, you know, family coaching, relationship coaching, fitness coaching, business coaching, that seems to work really, really well with 5-day challenges. So that's another way you can constantly be responding to people in your comments, is letting people know I've got a free 5-day challenge coming up, or I've got a free webinar coming up, or you can book a free call with me. So what I tend to do is essentially use content to get people's attention, and then once I've got their attention, I then offer them something for free. So another thing I used to do a lot was, as I said, I used to do these really high value lives, and then I used to send people a link to that live. So I've got a live training on the top 6 highest paying online businesses. Would you like to see it? Then I would send them that in a message, then maybe follow up a day or two later with, oh, would you like a free call? How are you interested in my program? That kind of thing. So you don't want to go straight from content to selling. You want to go content, give something for free, and then sort of let people come to you or follow up with people and ask them if they're interested in learning more from you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You don't want to make those sales pitches directly.
No. I mean, I think people just take a bit of time, don't they, warming up. So you know, people have followed me for 6 months or a year, and then join the Dream Club. Like, the timing has to be right for people. They have to trust you, and some people it takes longer. So I just like to offer a lot of stuff for free. You know, join my free group, watch my free training, join my free 5-day challenge, and then let people decide for themselves when they want to buy from you, really.
Yeah. Because if we try and push people into buying something, that doesn't work anyway.
Yeah, no, I really don't enjoy that style of sales, and the style of sales that I teach isn't that either. It's very much question based, so it's just ask tons of questions and then let people figure out for themselves that they need you. So if you ask the right questions, you know, if you ask a question like, okay, so why haven't you achieved this by yourself? They're going to be like, well, because I don't know how. And then you're going to be like, well, if you want to know how, you know, you don't really have to sell it. You just ask people the right questions. So in my sales training, I go through all the questions that you can ask people that essentially gets them to tell them, like, realize for themselves that they need you. Like, you don't have to sell anything. I really don't like hard sales. I got taught, you know, a sales script by my first coach, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it.
When I worked with my first coach, I wanted that sales script because I thought
I needed it as well, but then I tried to do it and it was just awful. Like, I hated it.
Didn't work for me. Although I would say he was a pretty good salesman.
Yeah.
So his script was good, but didn't work for me.
Yeah, so same for me, because I never buy anything, and before I worked for him, I'd never bought a high ticket thing ever, and he got me on that call and he sold me, and I thought, well, if he can do this to me, then he must be able to teach me how to do this. So that was my theory. But I do think women and men have different energy in sales, and we don't want to be like that. And so yeah, I personally didn't enjoy being that person as much as, you know, people will say, oh, well, if you want to make the money, you've got to do it. But there are other ways. There's not one way of doing it. So yeah, I found my own way, and I sort of invented my own strategy. I adapted some of the things he said, like the process, but I just changed everything in it. So it was very different. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is something really important to understand in business, that a formula may work for someone else, but it may not work for us at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to think that my strategy does work for most people, but some people can't do lives, or they like, no matter how many times I try and encourage them, they just physically can't make themselves do it. Then you've got other people who will be terrified and terrified and terrified, and then eventually, they'll get on with it. And then you've got some people who just can't make themselves show up on social media every day. They really struggle with that. And so I guess everyone has to find their own way. The way I teach does work, but I know that not everyone can bring themselves to physically do it, which is, that's the main problem, really.
Yeah. Well, we've just got to see what works for us and what we are able to do, and do more of that and less of what pulls us down or doesn't work for us.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can still take a coach's strategy and make it our own and make it work for our business.
Yeah, definitely. Just adapt things.
Mm. Although I would say there are an awful number of coaches and business owners who greet people with a sales pitch.
Yes, I've never done that. Although I have just bought my first thing ever from a cold message this week.
Oh,
I got a cold message from a VA company based in Philippines, and they charge like $5 an hour for certain tasks. And I actually needed someone to do my bookkeeping, and I was like, okay, sure, why not? Like, really, I've never ever bought from a cold message before, but I guess it does work if it's maybe a low investment type thing.
yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting because I never thought I would be that person to buy from a cold message.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Mm.
Well, I particularly dislike those messages wherein somebody would tell me that I need them.
Yes.
I recently received a message, and this was not on Facebook, this was on LinkedIn, wherein they said,
LinkedIn's the worst for cold message.
oh my God.
Everybody, I hate LinkedIn for that.
And this guy literally wrote to me, well, I'm just trying to remember and paraphrase, and he said, based on your profile, we can tell that you will be a brilliant fit for our executive coaching program. And so here are the details. Come on, sign up. I was like, do you get to decide that for me?
I wonder if that works though, because when people send these all the time, I think it must work on some people, otherwise surely they wouldn't keep doing it.
I have no idea. I haven't bought any of those things. Yes, there was somebody who tried to sell me something, but they were asking me questions, and then we would talk and take it from there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not good. It's not ideal. I don't, I do say message people, you can reach out to people if they're engaging in your content and they seem like they want what you're offering, send them a message and say, hey, like, I've noticed you really enjoyed my video. Do you have any more questions? Would you like a free call? That kind of thing. But yeah, not just like cold messaging people as soon as you connect with them. Let people get a chance to see your content. And another tip for that is when you are connecting with ideal clients, what I do is I put their Facebook link into a spreadsheet, and then every week I go down my spreadsheet and I engage with them. So I go onto their profile and I comment on their most recent post and like it. And this will help the Facebook algorithms to start showing them your content and you their content. So then Facebook thinks you're friends because you're commenting on their stuff. So then they'll start to see your stuff. And obviously that's what you want. You want these ideal clients to see your posts.
Yeah.
And then once they've seen some of your stuff, hopefully they're interested, they'll comment or they'll message you or they will, show up on something. So yeah, that's a much better way to start growing that engagement and that relationship, especially, commenting on people's pictures of their kid or their kid's birthday or happy birthday, just building that sort of slow friendship that you can build through social media. So yeah, remembering to do that is much more important than cold DMing people, definitely.
Yes. So we are essentially saying that we've got to invest time and energy into building relationships on social media.
Absolutely, yeah. And people always want a shortcut. They always want an easy way. And I mean, it didn't take me long to start making sales with this strategy. It took me about 6 weeks to make my first sale of $3,000. And then a couple of months later, I did my first 10K launch. And then a couple of months later, I did my first 25K. So it doesn't take a long time in the grand scheme of life and business, but people just don't want to invest the time to consistently show up every day, to go live, to write content, to connect with people consistently and to engage with those people. And yes, it takes time. If you don't want to do it, then you're not going to get the results.
Yeah. But does it mean that we are spending the entire day on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever platform we are on?
Me personally, I don't think so. Like I said, in the morning, I would write my posts. So I do that usually in bed.
Mm-hmm.
Depending, obviously, if you're writing an organic post, it might take you a little bit longer if you've got to actually think of the idea and everything like that. So that takes me maximum half an hour to write a post usually. Then you want to add 20 to 30 people. So that's going to take you 20 minutes, half an hour. And then a couple of times a week engaging with your list, which takes maybe an hour. So, you know, it shouldn't take you more than a couple of hours a day. Obviously, when you start replying to each comment, you don't have to put something really interesting in every comment. If you're just doing it for the engagement purposes, just put an emoji, just put a smiley
Oh,
face or whatever. Like, you don't have to
I like
really,
that.
yeah, you don't have to go deep with every comment if you're just doing it for engagement. If
Yeah,
you're doing it to obviously start a conversation because someone said, I want your service, and that's a bit
yeah,
different. You want to start the conversation.
yeah.
But it's worth it. Like, it's worth the time, because now I
Mm.
work 2 days a week. After a year, I work 2 days a week, and you know, so I've cut my hours down gradually and gradually over the last year. I started off working 5 days a week,
Yeah,
cut down to 4. Now I work 2.
brilliant. What do you do in the rest of the time?
I don't know. This is what I'm trying to figure out. This is now my current problem, is what do I do with all my free time? But I've outsourced and automated everything apart from coaching and writing my own social media. So I literally just need 2 days a week to do that. Ads are running now as well, and I've got my Facebook groups managed, and I've got a team of VAs and stuff. So yeah, so now I've got to figure out, what do I do with life? That's my new challenge. I spent the last few years trying to figure out how to make money, how to juggle mum life and all that sort of stuff, and now my daughter's currently living with her dad in Berlin, and I'm working 2 days a week, so I've got all this free time and no idea what to do with it.
And you can't travel.
No, not really. I mean, I have been traveling, but there's not so much stuff open. So even when you go traveling, not everything's open, not everything's, yeah, you can't do everything you'd want to do. So yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Or everybody's travel plans got cancelled this year. So
Yeah,
it's been a bit May that way.
yeah, it's rubbish.
So tell us about some things that we definitely must not do on Facebook or any other social platform.
Well, take some advice from me today, and don't say you hate men or women or any other group. I think it's automatic. So I think the words I hate and then any like group, you get in trouble. And also, once I said men are gross, and I got blocked for that as well. So there you go. Be careful what you say, because Facebook has certain algorithms where it's actually just checking.
Yeah.
You don't need to get reported. It's just checking certain phrases
Yeah.
and certain words that fit together, and it will block you for 24 hours. So be careful of that. Be careful not to add too many groups, too many people in one day. Don't send too many private messages in one day, because Facebook will block you for that. Make sure you've got someone else's admin in your group, because if you got in trouble and you couldn't get back to your group and your page, also make sure you've got backup admins, you know, just a friend or somebody who can look after that for you. Yeah, don't post other people's photos, quotes, stock image. Use your own branded stuff, use your own images. Don't post drama or like news articles or politics or all that stuff, like, unless your business is specifically about that. I just think you don't want to direct away from yourself and what your mission is and your business mission is. If you're always posting like about your ex-boyfriend, or I don't know, about the politics or whatever it is, it doesn't look very professional. It just looks like you're
Yeah.
just creating drama, and just arguing with people on social media is generally just a waste of time. So yeah, those would be my tips of what not to do.
Yeah, but there are so many people who are pro talking politics or whatever it is that they feel passionate about, because they
Yeah,
believe it's part of who they are.
yeah, I mean, I get that, and like I said, if you want that to be part of your business, then fair enough. But I just think it's directing things away from your business. It's directing things away from your mission as a business owner, which is
Yeah.
whatever it is to help people with a certain thing. So obviously if it's related to your business, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
But just general politics, I just think it's always going to cause arguments, and it's kind of not helpful.
Yes. Yes. And yeah, I find that drama just too much.
Yeah, there's always going to be someone that disagrees with you, and it's just going to end up in a big argument. Like, I just can't deal with arguments on social media. I just think people who argue on social media, it's just such a waste of time. Like, why are you arguing with strangers on the internet? it just makes no sense to me. Just like, have a day off.
I like that. Have a day off. Yeah, I'm the same. I don't want to have those discussions on social media with
No.
random strangers. I don't even know lots of those people, and there isn't enough time to really understand why people are saying what they are saying and what their experiences have been. And people make this huge noise and drama. Oh, just not worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it at all.
Yeah, just not worth it. Yeah. And I do like the idea. I really appreciate you saying that if you're using social media to build our business, we stay on track, we stay aligned to our mission, because that's so important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So in your journey as a digital nomad, tell us some of the lessons that you have taken from travel and applied them into building your business.
Oh, I don't know about that. Keep it simple. Travel light. Don't don't overcomplicate things, because when I first started traveling, I didn't want to pay for suitcases because I hardly had any money, so I packed like nothing. And then this year I had money and I was like, yeah, I'm taking a big suitcase, and then I had to drag this huge suitcase everywhere, and I was like, why have I done this? This is so pointless. And I didn't even wear half the stuff, and I was like, so yeah, keep things simple. Like, people really like to overcomplicate things, especially when they start their business. They want like all these funnels and a website and all this tech, and I'm just like, no, have Facebook. That's it. Just start with Facebook and see if it works. Because there's no
I've
point
been
in
there.
building, yeah, there's no point in building a website, especially building like a website with like a membership site on it or something really complex. And then you realize, actually, my idea wasn't that great. Nobody wants to buy it.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. So test your ideas first using a simple platform, and just, do your courses live. Don't do your courses all pre-recorded with 20 million modules and PDFs, and because that will drive you insane putting that together. And then you don't even know if you're going to sell it. You don't even know if people will like it or it's got the right content in it. People are going to ask you different questions. So just start with a couple of steps in a course or a program, and then build the rest as you go, so that you've got more time to perfect it with real people and know if people actually want it, because that's a huge mistake a lot of people make. They think they have to have everything worked out before they can start.
Yeah, and all that they need is just a couple of steps.
Yeah, just start and just go with that. And another thing is just like, you can't prepare for everything, so just go for it, see what happens. Like, people just need to be more ballsy. Just do it.
Let's do it.
Just do it. I'm not an ambassador for Nike, but I find myself saying just do it all the time. Like, seriously, just do it. Like, you can't learn until you try.
Yeah.
So just do things, see what happens. If you get it wrong, try again, change the thing that was wrong and fix it and adapt and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm like that with travel as well. I just book a flight and then turn up and I'm like, oh, so what happens here then? Like, I don't plan anything. I'm not like researching restaurants or researching activities. I just go, and then when I get there, figure out what happens in that place and see where I end up.
So you just check the weather and the place and travel.
Pretty much, yeah. Or, there's places that I've heard about that people say are amazing, and I think, oh, I'll just go there, but I don't like necessarily do a lot of research. Someone will say, oh, you really need to go to this city or that place, and I'll be like, okay, right, how much are flights? Okay, let's go. And that'll be pretty much as far as it goes, really. Yeah. I don't look into it much more than that.
Yeah. So what I have been hearing for the past 40 minutes or so is that you make sure that you don't get in your own way.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Just do stuff. Whatever you want to do, just do it. Don't worry about the consequences. I don't worry about what could go wrong. Don't worry about it. Just try it. See what happens.
What would you say to people who want to do this, but find themselves talking out of their big dreams?
Follow me and you'll see. You can just do stuff.
Brilliant. I love that.
Hopefully my attitude rubs off on people after a while. I think it probably does. So yeah, join one of my groups or my membership site or the Dream Club or whatever you need to do, and just see like how easy it is to do things if you want to do them. Just go for it. Yeah, just book the flight or just start the whatever you want to do. Just take the first step.
Just take the first step. Yeah.
Yeah.
And take help from somebody who has been on that journey.
Yeah, definitely. Hiring a coach or working with somebody is always a smart idea. I held myself back from doing it for years. Like I said, I never wanted to invest in anything. I didn't think anyone could teach me what I couldn't Google myself. Like, I just didn't understand the value of coaching. And then I hired my first coach and he taught me so much, and I was just like, wow, okay, now I'm addicted to this. And since then I've had like so many coaches and consultants in my business. It's been crazy, but that's what's enabled me to grow, because you won't grow fast if you do it all by yourself. You just won't.
It'll just take a lot longer, and it's going to be much harder than it needs to be.
Exactly. Yeah, there's people that have already done stuff and they can fast track you through the steps, so why try and work it all out on your own? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Choose ease over difficulty.
Exactly.
So would you recommend working with somebody who's a few steps ahead of you or several steps ahead of you?
Well, I guess it depends, because when I started the Dream Club, I was just a couple of steps ahead of my ideal clients. Now I'm quite a long way ahead, but because I've been teaching this same course since I was a few steps ahead, I still kind of know their problems. One of the things that I see with some of my girls will start following some big time coaches, and then they'll get really overwhelmed because these big time coaches are teaching big time strategies, like how to scale. They're teaching like ads and getting on multiple platforms and making sure you're in all these places. And I'm like, just remember, when you start, you need to start simple and just follow these simple steps. So you can follow a big time coach in the beginning if that big time coach is an expert in the beginning. So like I am an expert in the beginning stages of launching a business, but I am now like quite a lot farther ahead than they are. So yeah, it just depends really what their expertise is. I think that's what I would say. You want someone who's an expert in where you're at and getting to the next level. So if you're 5 figures and you want to get 6 figures, doesn't matter if the coach that's teaching you is making 7 or 8 figures, as long as they're an expert in getting you from 5 to 6. So yeah, just make sure that you're working with somebody who understands where you're at, because otherwise you can find yourself, I mean, I've seen it happen to another lady that I was working with. She came to my marketing agency for Facebook ads, and we didn't realize that she'd never even sold anything before. So she'd never sold one thing, but her coach was telling her, you need to run Facebook ads. And you absolutely should not run Facebook ads if you've never sold anything, because you don't even know if people want it. So you need to go through these stages, and if you've got a coach who's telling you to run ads when you've never sold anything, they're not understanding where you're at. They're really not understanding the stage you're at. So yeah, just make sure you work with somebody who gets where you're at in your business journey, wherever that may be. If you need somebody who wants to help with the very early stage, that's what I do. The Dream Club is the launch. So getting you up to that 5 to 10k a month from zero is essentially what I teach.
Yeah. I remember I had once attended a masterclass from one of these big coaches, and I was really looking forward to it because it was advertised and there was some buzz that had been created around it. And I set aside 2 hours for this class, and I really wanted to do it. But this guy was working with some of the biggest names in the industry. So every sentence that he was throwing at the audience could have been full-blown marketing strategies in themselves. And he was dropping in names like, oh, when I did this with Tony Robbins and da da da. So it's not about whether we like Tony Robbins or not, because that seems to be quite a discussion all the time on social media. But I'm talking about the level, the scale at which he was working.
Exactly.
And he was so far out from where I was that none of what he said made sense to me.
No, it wouldn't.
Back then.
Yeah. So definitely, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And you want to make sure that whoever you're working with gets you and where you're at, really. So that's one thing I would ask, if you are looking to hire a coach, is asking the person sort of like what kind of level the other people they help at, what sort of levels they help them move from. Some people will say they can help anyone at any level, and I'm always questionable. I always question that, really. I'm not really sure about people that say that.
Yeah, that's really important to remember, that we've got to find the right coach for us.
Yeah, exactly.
So before we let you go, what is one big message you want to share with the people?
Really, to just do whatever it is you want to do in your life. don't wait. Like, this year has taught us so much about, you know, you never know what's going to happen. So if there's something you want in life, if there's something you want to do, somewhere you want to go, business you want to start, something you've always dreamed of, you know, go for it and do it now, because you never know what's going to happen in the world, this crazy world. So just go for it, whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah, brilliant. I love that. I love that. How can people get in touch with you, Chanel?
So my free Facebook group is Digital Nomad Mums, and my website is thedreamclub.co.uk. And yeah, those are the best places really, or you can add me as a friend on Facebook.
Brilliant. Chanel, thank you so much for coming and talking to us today. I loved our conversation.
Yeah, me too. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you.